And we're live from Yucca Flats after the blast to 623 East 68th Street, apartment 3B.
Or 328 Chauncey Street.
Either one.
In Brooklyn. Or
That's right. Or Bensonhurst.
Yep.
It's the Joe and Joe Weather Show.
There it is. Wow, this is classy.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
My goodness.
It's very exciting. The Joe and Joe Weather Show.
Would you get that off now?
You know what? We could just stick it up in the upper corner.
Why don't we just sing a song? We could use the bouncing ball, remember?
Like this?
By the light of the silvery...
I gotta make it a little smaller. By the light of the silvery moon, I want to swoon. Swoon. Not spoon.
You know that it's Friday, folks.
It is.
You can tell.
It's been a kind of a long week.
Make it clear, like on television, some of the television stations, they make the insignia like a clear and constantly embedded in the lower left or lower right hand corner of the screen. Well, that's good up there, above your head.
You're all right with that over here?
Why not?
Or do you want it over here?
It doesn't matter.
It matters, Joe. Everything matters.
Oh, my goodness.
We'll put it over there.
There it is. It's right up there.
Let's get a little closer there. It is Friday. Amen. And glad to see a few of you who aren't out on happy hour or having dinner or doing something outside. Thanks for joining us on a Friday going into Father's Day weekend. I noticed yesterday, last night driving home on the LIE, Joe, that the traffic was especially heavy for after 11 o'clock at night. Usually it's pretty smooth, but it was pretty heavy. So I was thinking a couple of things, graduations, prom nights, and that kind of thing going on. And also probably a few folks maybe getting a head start, got a head start on the weekend.
Father's Day weekend.
Doing all 3 days. Or today on Long Island, for Central and Eastern Long Island, it was cloudy most of the day. If those of you watching the U.S. Open, you would have seen a lot of clouds, and there were even a couple of sprinkles out my way. A little more sun as you headed west into Nassau. In most of New Jersey, it was no worse than partly sunny, and in a lot of spots it was mostly sunny. And you had some cloud issues up your way, too.
Yeah, it was broken to overcast, but every once in a while the sun would break through, and all of a sudden it got very bright. And there was even a couple of spritzes early this morning in parts of where I live, up in Putnam County. But overall, it was kind of refreshing to have the temperatures in the 70s today. I'll be thinking about this a lot on Monday when the temperatures are going for broke. It's well up in the 90s, we think, right now.
You know, I'm going to be... The last June, we had that one day where I think the highest temperatures were 95 or 96. Maybe Newark got to 97, and LaGuardia hit 101 that day, if you recall.
Right.
And we were all jumping up and down in protest because it just didn't hold water as far as everybody else. I think we may wind up seeing something like that maybe on Monday.
Well, the two places we said this yesterday was LaGuardia and Teterboro. There's definitely something wrong with Teterboro's thermometer. It is registering readings anywhere from 2 to 5 degrees higher than anybody else. So if indeed it actually is at 95 or 96 on Monday, don't be surprised to hear about Teterboro Airport hitting like 100 or 101. It's crazy.
It wouldn't be a shock at all. There's the visible loop that takes us through the whole day. And the problem was, and we were watching this yesterday, this disturbance that was this spoke, this last trough dropping down into New England. The westernmost edge was right to about northern New Jersey, and you can see it there. And then later during the afternoon, it finally moved out, and now it's gone. And other than maybe a couple of patchy clouds, we're in the clear, I think. I don't see any big issues here going forward. The cirrus you see to the west, Joe, that's blow-off from thunderstorms that are up in the upper Midwest. There's some severe weather going on in parts of Wisconsin tonight. But, we're going to start off the weekend, Saturday, with a beautiful day, lots of sunshine. It'll be warm. Temperatures are going to be in the 80s. Dew points are going to be very low, down in the low 50s. So we should be fine.
Yeah, we should. The dew points are going to jump up about 10 degrees between tomorrow afternoon and Sunday afternoon. But the real climate punishment, if you will come on Monday with the temperatures soaring above 90 and dew point temperatures getting well up into the 60s to near 70. So Those are the kind of conditions that really put the big O in the word oppressive. It's going to be kind of if you're out and about on Monday, just take it extra easy. And by the way, they being the Department of Environmental Protection, they've already issued
a don't breathe warning.
The ozone and the smog alert and the air quality alert.
Yeah,
So
usually the thresholds for those things are pretty low. I think Sunday is going to be not unreasonable in terms of the humidity. Yeah, it'll be a little more humid than Saturday, but compared to Monday, it'll still be relatively easy to take, especially if you're away from urban areas. If you're out on Long Island, if you're on the Jersey Shore, you really, you probably won't notice too much of a difference because you'll be enjoying all the sunshine that'll be going on. I brought up the U.S. map with the warnings, and right now the heat is concentrated in Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, in through western Wisconsin and southern Minnesota, where we have heat advisories up there. And we also have, actually, I just want to mention this because we have the moisture and the remnants of Hurricane Bud in the Pacific that is now a weakening depression to a remnant low as it moves northward into Mexico. They've got some flood watches up for western New Mexico, and that southwest has been bone dry for so long. So even though it's going to move through there relatively quickly, they're going to get some much needed rain. Otherwise, there really isn't too much happening.
Now, what we're seeing over in Nevada, for example, and Colorado, are those red flags?
That's red flag.
Flag warning, so
eventually that rain's going to get up there probably on Sunday. So you'll probably that'll bring relief to some of the dry conditions that are going on there. We I still contend, Joe, when we look at the long range, that the hot weather that we're going to get. Okay, Sunday, I think there might be a couple of spots that could get to 90. Okay, I'll give you that. By the way, I just brought up the Pacific tropics. You could see Bud's moisture there now moving up through Mexico and heading into Arizona. And we do also have Tropical Storm Carlotta just south of Acapulco, where they have tropical storm warnings up for that area. So just want to mention that. That's the second fastest start to the hurricane season by 6 hours, missing by 6 hours for being the fastest on the Pacific side. June of '74 was the fastest.
Right.
But anyway, my what I was getting at is, you know what? I'm going to move the little guy over here. As soon as I figure out where I'm going to want to put him permanently. But let's bring up the models for the weekend and beyond. Sunday, as I said, one or two spots gets to 90. Monday, everybody gets to 90 or better. Tuesday is kind of tricky because Tuesday really depends on that front and the timing of that cold front. Does it come through early in the day? Does it come through in the middle of the day? Does it come through later in the day? If the front comes through sooner, that's probably going to cut off the extent of the northern extent of the 90-degree temperature. So, there'll be some places that'll get the 3 in a row threshold for a heat wave, which you know how I feel about that. And some places will only get 2, and some places will only have Monday.
Yes. And even on Long Island, they may have to wait, they being places that are near the shore areas.
May not get, well...
they may have to wait till like mid or late afternoon before any kind of a cooling breeze kicks in.
Yeah, Monday's kind of a fun, the South Shore of Long Island in June is a bit of a funny day, although the water temperatures, I was looking at them today, water temperatures have actually warmed up into the 60s. So as we start to get into the 60s, that sea breeze becomes less and less of starts to have, not that it doesn't have impact, but it takes longer.
Right.
And and also on those hot days like on Monday, like we're going to have, it could run to 90 there by 10 o'clock in the morning,
right,
and then just come to a screeching halt and then start to drop back. So it's a little hard to tell how that's going to play. But we can say also pretty safely, Joe, I didn't put in any thunderstorm mention. The only thing I did mention was that late in the afternoon on Monday, because of all the heat and everything else and the high humidity, with some places the dew points getting into the 70s, low 70s, that there might be a pop-up in a couple of inland places.
Right.
But for the vast majority, I would say probably not.
No, and I could remember on a couple of occasions having just what you mentioned, extreme heat and high levels of humidity, high dew points, resulting in suddenly, little,
Yeah.
in one or two places, not everywhere, nothing widespread or whatever. And it might be worthwhile just mentioning in the forecast for Monday, chance for an isolated, but isolated in that maybe 1 in 10 places.
Yeah.
might get a little bit of
The vast majority of the day is just going to be brutally hot anyway, so that's a given no matter what.
I'm thinking about a day. I think it was in the 90s. I used to live in Levittown, Long Island, and I remember we decided we were going to go to have dinner at a restaurant in Long Beach, and we got on the Wantaw Parkway. It was just absolutely sweltering. It was like well above 90, and I remember so clearly that I forgot the exit, but as we hit a certain part of the Wantaw, and it was like hitting a wall. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
the temperature.
Usually, when you get to about 20, when you get to sunrise, usually that's
just like
the wall.
boom, right down, and you really were able to feel it, and it felt so nice. I didn't
Yeah.
want to go back. I didn't want to. The only other it's the same effect when I'm down in my basement.
Yeah.
And I'm walking up the stairs.
I get
and
exactly.
And a certain part of you reach a certain section of your stairwell, and all of a sudden it's like.
Exactly.
Oh.
Well, here's the GFS for 2. This will break the heat. The late afternoon run seems to want to bring the front through a little bit faster. I also think that the timing of the front is going to impact the quality of, let's call it the quality of thunderstorms that we might get on Tuesday when the front goes by. I think there's a chance that they could wind up being fairly strong. We'll wait to see what the Storm Prediction Center does when we get a little bit closer, because it's out of their range right now.
It is, and rarely. They have experimental forecast guidance where they have the day 1, day 2, day 3, which would take us now through Sunday, and then they actually have days 4 through 8, and it is very, very unusual. I'd say it's like maybe once or twice. All right, maybe more like 3 or 4 times a month. Do you see days 4 to 8 have any kind of indication of any kind of activity? They're always saying predictability too low. And I say if that be the case on a constant basis, if you haven't improved on that over the last 2 or 3 years, why bother? If it's an experiment, the experiment is not working.
Yeah, the one thing, Joe, is that with the way I kind of look at it is, since there's always some volatility in those forecasts, if they ever pop up, every once in a while you do get a severe, a risk area in day 4, day 5, or even on occasion day 6. If they pop it up then that early,
right,
is probably that's usually a warning, a warning sign for you.
Yeah, well, it's I remember at least once or twice seeing something for our area, the Northeast, outlined on a day 5. And I said, wow, if it's already on day 5, it can only be getting more, as we get closer to the event, the confidence level is going to be increasing. Because they just outline an area. They don't give you anything in terms of, enhanced or slight or moderate or whatever like that.
Right.
And the way, and I think you'll agree, over the last month or so, thunderstorm areas predicted by the Storm Prediction Center, let's say from day 3, and let's say they do put us in general thunderstorm activity for, let's say, Tuesday, it would not be totally surprising if by the time we got to, let's say, Sunday or Monday, all of a sudden they start indicating a more problematic zone within that area for possible severe weather. So it could very well be that we could be looking at a severe, threat on Tuesday, but it's just too far away now to start really getting excited about it. Or
Adam Hewitt is on. Hi to Adam. David Schwartz, your question about rain in the forecast for Monday or Tuesday. Small chance for a pop-up Monday, better chance for storms on Tuesday. That's at least what we're seeing right now. Bob Appley brings up this. He says the thermometer at Philadelphia, KPHL, is a few degrees cooler than KPNE, which is North Philly.
Right.
And with Northeast Philly, it is usually cooler, and it doesn't make sense. One of the things I would just put this out there, and I don't know if this is the case or not, but it used to be, Joe, if you remember going back, LaGuardia used to be always cooler
Right.
than Central Park, and then at some point it kind of flipped around. You got to wonder, as you know, the urbanization and the infrastructure as it changes, whether that changes, you know, that it probably changes the temperature profiles that you may get used to.
Right.
I'm not saying that you're wrong, Bob. I'm just throwing it out there. You know, maybe something in the infrastructure has changed in that area that maybe is changing the temperature profile. I don't know. Or it could be just that the thermometer's busted. You know, certainly that's the argument for Teterboro.
Well, yeah, that Teterboro has been like off the wall for many, many weeks now. And it just has happened.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not something that we saw last year or even over the winter. All of a sudden, we've been getting these wacky readings from Teterboro compared to even Newark on some days. Newark used to be the king in terms of New Jersey, in terms of high temperature. Now, all of a sudden, even Newark is being eclipsed by readings from Teterboro. And that's why I say that on Monday, it's going to be very interesting to see what both LaGuardia and especially Teterboro come up with. While,
Yeah.
you know,
I'm betting one of those hits 100. Susan DeAngelis says, finally some hot weather. I'm sorry, Suzanne. Suzanne, judging from the comments so far tonight, that you seem to be the only one happy about this. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the brutally hot weather anymore, especially when you have to either work in it or drive in it. You're not, you know, I
and
don't
of course,
know.
here at Fios One News, and
We're
maybe
comfortably cool in here.
well, we are. It's a lovely place. But what I'm saying is, for a newsworthy story on Monday, news organizations, media outlets always go to the pizzeria
Yes.
and show the guy who's shoving the pizza
In the 300-degree oven.
300-degree oven. And
You
then
wonder
then
whether he's able to even tell the difference.
And then they ask, you know, he says, "How do you feel with this?" You know?
Yeah, exactly. All right, so you know what? There isn't really too much happening with the tropics quiet in the weekend. Anything else you want to talk about tonight before we go goodbye?
Since we're taping this, or recording this right now at about 9:07 in the evening. When you're done watching us, don't do it right now, unless you happen to be outside right now and watching us on your phone. Face over toward the west-northwestern sky. And the two of us, when we leave the garage, as soon as we come out of the garage here at Fios, there it is in front of us. Venus, so brilliant, like a dazzling white star.
Cool.
And tonight, right below Venus, is going to be a lovely thin crescent moon. A lovely, as I said on one of my feeds tonight, a celestial tableau.
Yes,
so
I heard that.
Watch this. Look for this, and people. Well, I had somebody. It was actually not on my Facebook page. It was on the Tri-State Weather page. Adam Toskin's Tri-State Weather. Somebody posted a picture of Venus, but the woman who took the picture didn't know what it was, and she says, "I've been seeing this thing in the sky out in the west-northwest for the last several nights. It doesn't move. It just stays there." And it's like glaring at me, and she says, "It's creeping me out." So, if you've seen it, if you see that big star in the west for right after sunset, it's Venus. And tonight and tomorrow night, if it's still reasonably clear, you'll have the crescent moon keeping it company and making for a very lovely celestial display. A free sky show, courtesy of Mother Nature.
Well, I'm heading up to northern Connecticut after work tonight because I'm going fishing tomorrow with my daughter and my son-in-law.
When are you going to start breaking in the grandkid on fishing?
Well,
give him a little fishing.
He's 5. Well, he's got his tackle box already. He's 5 weeks old today. Yes, we have to. You know, he has to get to at least. Let's give him till 6 weeks before.
All right.
But yeah, no, those definitely are in the longer range plans. No doubt. And I think I'm going to spend Sunday probably doing a little bit of yard work that has to be done. Actually, a lot of yard work that has to be done. Oh, I got to tell you this story. So, I decided today to open up my pool.
Oh, and this is right after I told my wife. I said, "Well, Joe didn't open up his pool because we're having our pool problems."
Right.
At our house.
Well, I have a really funny pool problem.
Okay.
So, the cover to my pool was bleeding water right through the fall. So I had to spend, all winter long, basically, water that would get on the cover, I'd have to pump it back into the pool. And of course, everything froze, so I was okay for a while. But since the spring, I'm pumping water back in.
Right.
All right. So over the last couple of weeks, when we had we had a couple of days, a few days where we had some very warm, humid nights. Right around sunset, I'm hearing. Now we always hear bullfrogs where I live, but when I tell you the chanting of bullfrogs, there must have been hundreds and hundreds of bullfrogs. The sounds were coming from everywhere. The screaming was astounding.
Right.
And I thought, okay, well, there must be, a large plethora of bullfrogs in the area. So I pulled the pool cover open.
Oh, no.
Well, no, it's not what you think.
Okay.
So, remember, I'm pumping water from the cover every night. There's like a foot of water. I got to pump it back in. Well, apparently these bullfrogs decided to lay all their eggs in that water.
Oh, no.
I pumped the eggs into the pool. All the eggs hatched. So I pulled the cover off. The water is like almost dark green to black in some places. But where it's clear enough near the edges, when I tell you I have thousands of tadpoles. And, I feel so terrible now because I got all these little baby frogs in there. I'm not a heartless person. I don't know what to do. So I have my dilemma here that I have to think about how I'm going to handle this going forward. The one good thing about the tadpoles is that, with the water the way it is, and I could see all the mosquitoes that are hatching, they're lunch. So the tadpoles are taking care of that. But I guess the next time I hear screaming bullfrogs, I better check my pool cover.
Absolutely. I don't even have a pool cover. My pool cover, my solar cover, after 16 or 17 years of use, it was just disintegrating. So we had to roll it up.
That happens.
And now what we had to do is we put a new pool cover on order. It supposedly is going to be delivered tomorrow, but in the meantime, the last few nights we've had nothing on the pool, which is kind of interesting. You see, all winter long you looked at this drab green cover on top of the pool, covered with snow and all that, and now you're just looking at this lovely blue,
stuff.
Thing, but that kind.
All right, so both of us are going to have a good Happy Father's Day to you.
Happy Father's Day to you, and happy
Grandfather's Day too. And enjoy yourselves. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there.
There's a Grandfather's Day, isn't there?
There's a Grandparents' Day. I forgot when it is.
Yeah.
I think it's after Father's Day. I will look it up.
And Groucho Marx once said, when he compared Mother's Day to Father's Day, he said Mother's Day had everything, the music and all of the everything surrounding Mother, and he called Father the town schlemiel. And
that's because we want to spend the day at the racetrack.
Well,
which is
all these songs about Mother, and he says there's only two songs that he could think of about fathers: "Pop Goes the Weasel" and "Oh What a Crumb Is My Old Man."
Oh God. Well, happy Father's Day to everybody out there. Just a couple of things. Just want to mention really fast. We had, if you haven't joined us over the last couple of days, I finally figured out that the technical glitch I had to figure out in order to bring guests on the show. We had Addison Green on the other night, and over the coming weeks and months, particularly when weather starts to get interesting, we're going to bring guests on. So just letting you know ahead of time. And this way, when you come on, you could ask them questions, and we'll have a lot of fun bringing in a third person. Or if I bring my extra spare camera from home, we could actually put you on a camera, put me on a camera, and put other people on other cameras, and maybe we can make Hollywood Squares. All right.
Or Brady Bunch boxes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that we already have.
Yeah.
All right. So don't forget, top of the hour, FiOS 1 News, Long Island, FiOS 1 News, New Jersey for me,
and FiOS 1 News, Lower Hudson Valley for me. And I guess when you and I come back and reconvene here on Monday, we'll be coming in from out of the sauna. So
yes. And let's not forget this weekend, Andrew Pinheiro will be on tomorrow morning. And also on Sunday morning, and Jonathan Cubitt,
that's right,
who just started with us. He will be handling things on Saturday and Sunday evening, and then Brian and Jeff back on Monday morning. Addison Green and Brittany Bohr on midday, and then you and I back at 5 o'clock on Monday. So
maybe because it's going to be so hot on Monday, we'll do the Monday Joe and Joe show in our swim trunks.
In here?
Well, throw a little, make it different.
All right.
Never mind.
So,
kill that.
Once again, that was us live from Lower Slavovia. The Joe and Joe show. Let me fix the... I got to get used to this. I'm going to figure out a way to just put it in a corner and leave it there and make sure it stays on the top always. But that's us, the Joe and Joe show. We will we'll see you on Monday. I might pop on at some point over the weekend, particularly tomorrow if I catch anything.
As long as you don't pop off.
Oh, God.
Or Reservoir.
Ciao.